Objection. Costello rolls his eyes, lets out an audible sigh, side glances the judge. The judge says, "I want to discuss proper decorum in my courtroom." The judge says, "You don't give me a side eye and you don't roll your eyes." The judge says, "When there's a witness on the stand, if you don't like my ruling, you don't say geez, you don't say strike it." Costello holds a long glare at the judge. Judge Merchan says, "Are you staring me down?" Then the judge says, "Clear the courtroom." There's yelling by security officers at the press to leave. The video is cut. Court security says nobody can come back in. Paula, you have a JD. You've been covering court cases for quite some time. Have you ever seen anything like this?
No, this is unbelievable, and I know Bob Costello quite well. I've talked to him for about a decade. The fact that he would allow this to happen on the stand, it suggests in many ways that he is probably posturing for the defendant. Remember, it's the defendant that overrode his own defense attorneys. They said this is not a good idea. Do not put Costello on the stand. He overrode them because he loved Costello's performance in Congress last week, where he attacked not only Bob Costello, but also this case and the judge. So the fact that Costello would conduct himself in a trial like this, potentially jeopardize a case like this, I am actually pretty surprised, but it validates the concerns that have been expressed by members of Trump's defense team about why they did not want to call Costello, and also reminds us why when the defendant calls the shots and not the defense attorneys, you can have something like this happen.
And Paula, I mean, Bob Costello, he is an attorney, right? I mean, he knows how important it is, more than the average Joe on the street, to show respect and deference to a judge's rulings. I mean, these are just objections that are being sustained. I was there last week or the week before, and, you know, Judge Merchan sustains objections from both the prosecution and the defense. I know the defense doesn't think he's fair, but as a general note, what I saw seemed, you know, in keeping with courtroom proceedings. For him to do that, that's knowing hostility. I mean, that is knowing animosity towards a judge's ruling.
Jake, this is unbelievable that he would engage in this kind of conduct, force the entire courtroom to be cleared. I reiterate, there have always been concerns about Costello. Costello is the only defense witness called before the grand jury in this case. His testimony, he said, resonated with the grand jury, but he didn't stave off an indictment. He was not expected to be called until late last week when Trump said he had to be called. This is so over the top, undermining everything the defense has tried to do for their client over the past week or so. It's unclear what impact this is going to have on the case itself, but this is exactly why certain members of the defense team did not want to call him. But again, I've dealt with him for a decade. I am pretty shocked that this is the way that he's behaving on the stand. Look, he has animus towards Michael Cohen, no doubt. He also has some ill will towards the judge. But the fact that he would engage in this kind of behavior in a criminal courtroom in a historic case of this nature is truly shocking.